Good morning. Today is Saturday, May 11th. This is a review session for Business 330, the California Best Trucks Case Assessment Case paper for our spring semester 2024. I'm your moderator. My name is Professor Hassey. I am speaking live and in color from Claremont, California, and my office in this lovely village of Claremont. Today's review session is mainly to address the overall structure and theme of the paper as it plays into our studies of business finance, and also to answer any questions or concerns students have. First of all, this assessment case paper is part of your study of business finance in your spring semester for 2024 in the business administration or whatever major your is to give you a full background of the capabilities of financial management, to assess by doing capital budget or doing strategic analysis, and then interpreting that analysis by answering some key questions relative to your analysis. This is a real world example of a financial strategic decision-making process. California Best Trucks Case is a true company in the real world. It's just this name and the people involved here and the numbers have been changed, but this is a real world example of corporate finance. So what you are to do in this case is to decide whether a company should invest in public transportation, create a bus to provide a needed service in the market of Southern California, a bus for public transportation. The bus evolves around two key types of products, depending on the engine of the bus. Your job is to take all the variables and project cash flow and return on investment of these two different types of bus products and determine which is the best one by answering some questions. The first part of your analysis is to decipher, tabulate, calculate the variables of the case so you can make a legitimate interpretation of what you need to do for the California Best Trucks Case company. So you have to determine the environment that this project is in. And the first example of that is, what is it costing the company to get the money? This project is a $1 billion investment for this company. A lot of money. What is it going to cost them? What is their designated hurdle rate, return requirement to meet the needs of the company to satisfy investors and to make sure that they produce a profitable product? That first analysis is the weighted average cost of capital. Taking the capital structure of the company, the percentage of debt to assets, the percentage of equity to assets, determining the after-tax cost of debt, and determining the required return on investment of investors, better known as the cost of equity, using the capital asset pricing model. Once you determine that cost of capital, that will be your discount rate to determine the net project cash flow and the return on investment for these two types of products, the Los Angeles engine and the California engine. We've been through this in our class review up to this point in time. The nature of this review session is to talk about the paper, to begin to, once you satisfy the requirements of doing this analysis, both for the LA engine and the California engine, in these preset templates that I have provided for you. Once you've completed that analysis, then it's your job to interpret that. And that's the most important part of this case, because that's the most important part of real world employment in the finance or business industry. Not only it's important to crunch the numbers to get the analysis, but the most important thing that companies are looking for in their employees and in value of their employees is to interpret the analysis and tell them what is the best course of action they should do. And that's the bottom line of this case. What is the best course of action for the California Best Trucks Company to do? Should they just say, the hell with both these products? We're not going to build it. It's not enough return. Or we pick the LA engine, or we select the California engine to market and sell to our customers in Southern California. Or we can do both, either or. Your job is to provide that interpretation for this company. And you do that by answering a series of questions provided in the case. Here's a sample case APA formatted paper. Thought this would help you get an idea of what the paper is all about. This is taken from another class, has nothing to do with our class, but it gives you a similar analysis and a similar way of looking at the format of an APA paper. And I will post this sample to the California Trucks case paper file folder, so you can download and look at it. Now, this is an example of a APA formatted paper for financial study. The title page, giving the parameters, the class, the topic, your professor, the date, whatever, title page. A table of contents, where certain points of the information are in your analysis. What is called the abstract section, one page called the abstract, or some people call it the executive summary, where you explain what you're doing in this paper. And you can basically follow what is going on here, what is saying here, and correlate it to your case. Let me read it for you. This capital budget analysis is to determine if the Tesca Works Incorporated shall invest $11 million to invest in new production line for a manufacturing a refrigerator. And it goes on to talk about what the analysis is going to try to do. That's called the abstract section. Then you get into the meat of the case, explaining and answering the questions that you're to do. Notice the format, double spaced, okay? Double spaced. And it goes on and explains the case. It gives examples. It even has tables showing the analysis. Very similar to yours. Summarizes the investment return. And as you can see, combines description or interpretation and the results of your spreadsheet. Not all the spreadsheets are copied to this paper, but certain sections are to help you condense and show the information. You don't have to worry about this section. Again, this is not our class, but I just wanted to show you the format that this was done at the MBA level and how they showed that paper. Quite elaborate, but this is for a master's study. A conclusion section where you summarize everything. This should pretty well tie into your abstract section. Now they've highlighted and they produced the spreadsheets in this paper, but you do not have to do that. That was a requirement of this paper, but not yours. You don't have to do this. But I'm just heading towards what you need to do. And if you have any references or reference section or any materials you used, you have to list those at all. But in review, a couple of key points. The title page, table of contents showing where parts of your analysis are. The abstract section or executive summary where you highlight your work. The description of your work and the interpretation and answering those questions you need to do here, followed by a reference section. So I will post this sample paper to the Blackboard so you can download it and see it. But this is what I'm looking for, the format that I'm looking for, how you should do your paper. Professionalism is the key. This is a real world example of you interpreting data and writing a paper, writing a description and a recommendation to a company. So here's the paper, and you've seen this before. Hopefully you've read this before, but this is the key area of this discussions. here on pages 2 and 3. The 6 questions you need to answer as part of your paper. Now, again, the paper sample that I just gave you was an MBA paper, a little bit more elaborate, a little bit more involved, a little bit more work, or a lot more work, really. But the format is the same. And you need to answer these 6 questions, and how you answer those 6 questions in the flow of your paper is up to you, as long as you fit it into the APA format that I've shown you. How much importance should be given to the energy cost situation? We've talked about that in class. What are the project cash flow for the next 20 years? What assumptions did you use? Explain the variables of the case and how you put them together into your project cash flow analysis. How did you determine the cost of capital? Is this an appropriate rate to use to evaluating the business of this project? If you decide to go ahead with this project, which of the 2 engines would you be used and why? What recommendation are you giving? If you're not recommending going ahead for the project, you should evaluate that and explain that as well. Evaluate the quality of project by using the appropriate capital budgeting techniques. You're determining the return on investment, NPV, IRR, profitability index, payback. Those are the methods you're using or the techniques you're using to determine the quality or the return of the project. Would you recommend the California BEX trust case accept or reject this project? What were the key factors in your recommendation? When you answered question 4, what were those key factors that allowed you to make that conclusion? And then you back all these questions up with appropriate data, charts, whatever. That's what I'm looking for as the paper side of this. Remember, this paper is due May 26, which is the last official day of our class. There can be no extensions beyond May 26. Also, that day you have a final examination due on May 26. There can be no extensions on that either. So basically, you have the next 2 weeks of class time, of review time to prepare these 2 bits of work. The final examination review outline is posted to Blackboard. So you have all the material you now need to know or have to complete the last 2 weeks of this course, working on this case and working on the final examination, which we posted next week, be posted at our class on Thursday, the 16th, and you'll have 10 days to do that final examination with one last review session on our class on the 16th. And then, you have everything is due on the 26th, but we have one last class on the 23rd where you can review any last minute work. So that's the last 2 weeks of our course, this case and the examination. We will have our final examination review part of our class on the 16th. So you have all the material, you have an example of the case, you have a template to do your work, you have all the necessary vehicles to complete your analysis of this case. Any questions or concerns? I'll be in class, I'll be available via email, and I'll be available for a Zoom session should you need it. Again, if you go to the Business Finance Blackboard site, our course platform, if you go to Zoom and Zoom YouTube links, you'll see our video. Once I process it today, be posted there, this review video. It'll also be located in the California Best Trucks case file folder, along with our sample paper format. In addition, if you go to the assignments and examination file folder, you'll see the final examination review study guide of what's going to be, which will be the final will be distributed this coming Thursday, May 16th, and you'll have 10 days to do it, with one final review session class on May 23. Both these works are due May 26, Sunday, and you have no extensions, so you have to have everything posted by that Sunday the 26th. Okay, that's our review session for this week, Saturday, May 11th. I stand by for any questions or concerns you all have. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.